You're watching Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham, here on the Newsbreak app. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss any of our Baltimore Ravens videos. On today's show, I want to talk about Pro Football Focus's quarterback rankings, in which they had Lamar Jackson number 8 on their list. And they ranked all 32 starting quarterbacks for obviously all 32 NFL teams. And Jackson comes in at number 8, which I've got some opinions on this, but we'll kind of talk this thing out step by step. Obviously, he was the 2019 MVP, so you're thinking, man, 8, that kind of feels a little bit low. I actually think it's a little low as well. We'll get to that in just a moment. First, I want to show you his stats from last year. Obviously, didn't have the MVP caliber season he had the year before, right? Like, throwing the football, like, I know he's just as much of a runner as he is as a thrower, but less than 3,000 yards. QBR of 74, still well above average, but I won't say he took a step back, but he didn't build off that MVP campaign. I still think he was really good, and I think he'll play much better this year with better wide receivers in the fold, and we all know what kind of runner Lamar Jackson is. Now, I want to ask you this before I show you the top 10 rankings and kind of where Jackson sits with his peers. How do you feel about him being number 8? Like, top 10 still really good, right? Like, that means you're an elite quarterback. Type O if you think it's overrated, like he's ranked too high, like he should have been like 12 or something. Type U if it's underrated, if you're like, man, not even pushing for top 5. Let me know how you think about Pro Football's rankings of Lamar Jackson as the number 8 quarterback in the NFL. Now, you look at the top 10 list, and if you're try to be objective with me here, right? Patrick Mahomes, number 1, no surprise there. Now, Tom Brady, too, that kind of feels like, oh, he won the Super Bowl and this and that. Brady's still really good. Would I have him, too? I would not. I think that's a little high. Aaron Rodgers, 3, I would have had him, too. Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. Obviously, Watson has his off-the-field issues, but from a pure football standpoint, he's a top 5 or 6 quarterback. I don't think there's too much argument there. Josh Allen, 6. Now, based on last year alone, yes, he was better than Lamar, but over the last 3 years, I think Lamar's been better. Dak Prescott, if you're basing this off last year, Dak played in 5 games and then missed the rest of the season. He was great in those 5 games, but Lamar's put together 3 really solid seasons of work, and then you got Matt Ryan and Baker Mayfield rounding out your top 10 here. I think you look at the top 7 or 8, and you could look at 4 through 8 or so and be like, it's kind of interchangeable. I do think Lamar should be higher than Dak. Now, obviously, they have different strengths. Dak is a better pocket quarterback than Lamar Jackson is. Jackson's a better runner, but Jackson's won an MVP. He's won. He won a playoff game last year. He was able to break through. Dak is a playoff win as well, but I think Lamar should at least be in the top 7, if not 5 or 6. Like, you put together his 3 years of work as the starting quarterback, he's up there. He's played pretty darn well for the Baltimore Ravens. Now, obviously, a big rivalry with the Ravens and Lamar that has brewed over the past couple of years is Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. And Mahomes and Kansas City have had the Ravens' number, and that's been a hurdle for Lamar when they've met head-to-head and really just as a whole, right? When you talk about week in and week out in terms of who are the best in the NFL, different style quarterbacks, we know that, but Mahomes has gotten it done in bigger games. So I think if we're all being completely objective, I don't think anyone necessarily is going to sit here and say, oh, Lamar should be challenging for number 1 on this list over a Mahomes. I think if you privately did a survey for all 32 NFL GMs, I think 30-plus would take Mahomes over Jackson, if not all 32, including the Ravens. Now, the Ravens are a power run team, and Lamar certainly fits that mold better than Mahomes would. Want to get your thoughts on this one before we sign off. And again, my overall thoughts, I think Jackson should be a spot or 2 higher. 8's still really good, though. Who you got, though? Who's the better quarterback, and who would you rather have right now? Type LJ for Lamar Jackson. Type PM for Patrick Mahomes. 2 great quarterbacks. This is going to be a fun head-to-head rivalry for years to come, and these 2 teams play again in week 2, so maybe Lamar can get some revenge this season.